Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine holding a tiny, ordinary-looking coin between your fingers and suddenly realizing that this simple 1988 United States 1-cent piece, something most people overlook, drop under car seats, or toss into jars, could secretly be worth an astonishing and record-shattering face value of $168 million, a number so massive that it transforms the coin from a minor scrap of copper-plated zinc into one of the most unbelievable and talked-about pieces of numismatic history. And today we're diving into the extraordinary reasons collectors, analysts, and treasure hunters believe that a small group of surviving 1988 USA cents might hold the key to one of the biggest valuation surprises the hobby has ever seen. Because when you understand the errors, mistakes, unusual strikes, minting anomalies, and rare conditions that surround this legendary cent, you begin to see how a coin normally worth just 1 penny can leap into the stratosphere of value and become a centerpiece of fascination, debate, and non-stop excitement across the entire collecting world. The story begins with the fact that 1988 was a transitional year in the United States Mint's complex production timeline. On the surface, it was just another year of mass-produced pennies, but beneath the surface there were changes in punch hubs, die preparation, mint machine calibration, and leftover components from previous years, all of which opened the door to bizarre hybrid errors that collectors later discovered by accident. And these accidents sparked a firestorm. Among the most dramatic possibilities was the mysterious 1988 cent struck with a 1989 reverse, a situation created because certain dies intended for 1989 production were mistakenly paired with 1988 obverse dies, resulting in what numismatists call a transitional variety. And transitional varieties hold immense importance because they provide physical evidence of mint mistakes that were never meant to leave the facility. When collectors find these pieces, even in rough shape, they can instantly transform from common coins to high-value rarities. Now imagine an enhanced version of this error, the kind rumored among old-school collectors who whisper that a limited handful of 1988 transitional cents were produced under unusually sharp pressure settings that caused an overpolish effect, die abrasion features, and sharper-than-normal lettering, giving the coin crystal-clear details inconsistent with the typical 1988 strike. Some believe these were part of a batch the mint intended for experimental testing. Others argue they were the result of a maintenance oversight following a die replacement session late in the production year. Either way, this combination of mismatched dies, exceptional sharpness, and unique finishing created specimens that look noticeably different from ordinary 1988 cents when compared under magnification. Adding to the mystery is the existence of struck-through anomalies for this year, including pieces where foreign debris, such as thread-like fibers, tiny slivers of metal, grease buildup, and even flecks of hardened lubricant, interacted with the planchet at the moment of striking, leaving phantom lines, recessed shapes, and unusual surface textures. These struck-through errors usually attract attention because they demonstrate quirks in the minting machinery. However, when paired with a transitional reverse or with a double die obverse, the value multiplies drastically. Collectors especially search for doubled features in Liberty, Lincoln's Ear, or the date because doubling errors represent flaws in the hubbing process, and certain forms of doubling can be extraordinarily dramatic, creating mirror-like secondary images that make the coin practically glow under proper lighting. Now, if you combine a dramatic double die with a transitional reverse, then add the possibility of an off-center strike ranging anywhere from 5% to 60%, you have an ultra-rare anomaly capable of rewriting the record books. Off-center strikes on 1988 cents are not unheard of, but extremely well-centered off-center errors that retain the complete date and mint mark are exceptionally scarce, and collectors pay huge premiums for that single feature alone. In the rarest rumored examples, the coin not only has a misaligned strike but also shows partial collar traces, which means the retaining ring that holds the planchet in place during striking did not fully engage, leading to a distorted, slightly expanded rim and giving the coin a dramatic, almost three-dimensional appearance that feels impossibly out of place on a modern penny. When such a piece appears with perfectly readable details and without post-mint damage, the value can climb extremely quickly. But the $168 million figure comes from something even more explosive: the theoretical existence of an ultra-grade specimen. Imagine an example of this rare transitional 1988 cent surviving in virtually flawless condition, graded at the highest levels possible, with full original luster, razor-sharp lines, perfectly preserved surfaces, and a mirror-like sheen that suggests it may have been accidentally set aside during mint inspection procedures and later released into circulation after being misplaced or mixed with a batch of regular coins. Such a coin would be the holy grail of modern cents. Its existence would shock the market. its sale would crush previous price records, and its fame would spread instantly across media platforms, collector communities, and even mainstream news outlets. Prices for rare coins soar based on demand, story, condition, rarity, and the frenzy created by collectors who do not want to miss the chance to own a unique artifact of American minting history. If a confirmed, fully certified, one-of-a-kind 1988 transitional cent with documented errors and museum-grade preservation suddenly entered a major auction house, paired with the historical narrative of accidental creation, accidental survival, and accidental discovery, the bidding war could become legendary, driving the price to unimaginable levels. In theoretical valuation models used by enthusiasts who analyze cultural impact, auction psychology, wealth competition, and rarity curves, such a coin could indeed reach the $168 million mark, especially if wealthy private buyers and major institutions were to compete aggressively. Even the idea of the coin creates a massive amount of online buzz, attracting millions of viewers who love stories of hidden treasure, forgotten currency, and life-changing finds sitting quietly in pockets, drawers, and jars all over the world. This is why so many people search their change, look through their old rolls, and explore coin collections inherited from relatives, hoping that one unassuming cent might be the key to an astonishing fortune. Another feature that adds intrigue is the 1988 mint mark peculiarity. On some rare coins, the D mint mark positioning appears slightly shifted or unusually shaped, suggesting that the mint mark punch experienced alignment issues, which can create a variety of micro-differences that collectors track passionately. While small mint mark differences usually do not skyrocket value on their own, they add character and further differentiate rare transitional specimens from ordinary strikes. The fascination grows when you factor in the broader context of U.S. coinage history, because transitional errors represent a bridge between two design eras, preserving a moment where the mint unintentionally blended the past and the future into a single coin. Collectors treat these pieces almost like historical accidents frozen in metal. The 1988 to 1989 transition in hub designs is particularly interesting because small changes were made to the reverse lettering, the alignment of elements, and the style of the designer's initials, making it easier to spot mismatched combinations if you know what to look for. This means that the 1988 transitional cent is not just rare. It is also scientifically identifiable, traceable to a specific minting process, and historically significant. Many hobbyists speculate that fewer than a dozen high-grade transitional errors from this year could exist in top condition, and if that number were even smaller, perhaps only one flawless, museum-quality example, the value could skyrocket to the extreme multimillion-dollar range, which is where the $168 million valuation becomes a theoretical peak estimate used in discussions, debates, and viral stories across the coin community. The power of rarity paired with narrative cannot be underestimated, because collectors do not merely purchase metal. They purchase history, mystery, and the excitement of owning something no one else can claim. The 1988 USA cent, therefore, stands as a symbol of how small errors can create massive waves in the numismatic world, and why diligent collectors constantly check their change for clues, oddities, strange markings, and unexpected anomalies. Whether someone finds a transitional reverse, a double die, a misaligned strike, a struck-through debris impression, or a mysterious high-grade specimen, each discovery fuels the dream that a common coin might lead to a life-changing moment. So if you want more incredible deep dives into rare coins, shocking values, hidden mint errors, unbelievable finds, and the world's craziest numismatic stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more unbelievable discoveries that might be sitting right in your pocket right now. Next, 1975 D1 cent USA coin. Imagine the shock of pulling an ordinary-looking coin from loose change, only to discover that this seemingly insignificant 1975 D United States 1 cent piece, something so small and common that people often overlook it, toss it into jars, or spend it without a second thought, carries a staggering face value of $169 million in the mythology of numismatic fascination, a number so unbelievably high that it elevates this humble copper coin into one of the most electrifying and talked about pieces in modern collecting history, and today we unravel the powerful reasons behind the hype, the legend, the swirling stories, and the extraordinary minting events that may have produced a handful of ultra-rare 1975 D cents with errors and anomalies significant enough to launch their value into the stratosphere. The year 1975 itself played a unique role in United States mint history, While millions of Denver-minted cents rolled off the presses, subtle variations in dyes, equipment conditions, production schedules, and transitional adjustments created opportunities for unusual mistakes that collectors now consider crucial clues in identifying rare pieces. This was an era when the mint was under intense pressure. Coin demand surged. Machinery underwent frequent maintenance. Leftover die components from prior years occasionally entered the production cycle, and new quality inspection protocols were being tested, which set the stage for the emergence of hybrid strikes, misalignments, doubled dies, improperly annealed planchets, off-center impressions, and a variety of anomalies that later exploded in popularity as collectors discovered how dramatically these tiny imperfections influence a coin's desirability. The core of the 1975 D legend centers on the possibility of transitional die varieties, especially those involving remnants of 1974 die elements, since the mid-1970s saw important shifts in master hub refinements and lettering arrangements. Though no official transitional reverse is confirmed for 1975D, persistent reports from early hobbyists describe cents with reverse details unusually sharp for the year or with design characteristics believed to match the prior year's hubs more closely than typical 1975 dies. These whispered stories circulated through coin clubs, antique shows, and collector meetups. Some claimed these oddities were simply over-polished dies, while others insisted they were hybrid combinations produced accidentally during late-night production shifts when worn dies, replacement equipment, and miscommunication intersected. A coin exhibiting even traces of a mismatched reverse, particularly one with sharper FG initials, slightly altered lettering spacing, or heightened relief, would instantly vault into extreme rarity, and if preserved in extraordinary grade, it could easily approach the kind of theoretical collector frenzy that fuels valuations as massive as $169 million. Beyond transitional possibilities lies the more dramatic realm of doubled dies, a category so beloved by collectors that a single strong doubled die example can turn a common coin into a legendary treasure. For the 1975 D cent, rumors of a bold doubling in Liberty, the date, Lincoln's Eye, or the motto have persisted for decades. Even weak or moderate doubling can be desirable, but the possibility of an extreme doubled die, one where letters and features show crisp, unmistakable doubling, would ignite intense competition among collectors worldwide. A doubled die on a Denver-minted specimen from 1975 would be particularly noteworthy because the Denver facility rarely produced large-scale doubled dies during this period, meaning any dramatic example would be the product of an unusual hubbing error. Pair that doubling with pristine surfaces, full original mint luster, and razor-sharp strike quality, and the numismatic world would experience a whirlwind of excitement, discussion, and speculation. The narrative intensifies further when examining striking errors, such as off-center impressions, misaligned dies, rotated dies, and broad strikes. A perfectly preserved off-center strike with a complete visible date and mint mark can command extraordinary premiums. The more dramatic the off-center appearance, especially between 40% and 60%, the more visually stunning and desirable the coin becomes. Meanwhile, die rotation errors can create coins where the reverse is unexpectedly turned in relation to the obverse, resulting in a dramatic, eye-catching misalignment that collectors treasure. A rotated die 1975 D cent with a prominent doubling error would be virtually unique. If such a coin survived the past half-century without damage, its market potential could skyrocket. Another extremely rare and valuable category involves struck-through errors, where foreign debris, such as thread, wire, grease, metal shavings, or fragments of cloth, became caught between the die and the planchet during striking. These create phantom shapes, recessed lines, ghost-like textures, and peculiar impressions that reveal precise moments of accidental interaction inside the minting chamber. When a struck-through error occurs on a coin that also exhibits a more foundational error, such as doubling or transitional features, the coin becomes exponentially more desirable. Some collectors have described seeing 1975 D cents with odd horizontal smears or diagonal streaks across the portrait. While most of these turn out to be post-mint damage, the few struck-through examples that have been authenticated demonstrate how dramatic and beautiful such errors can appear under proper lighting and magnification. Another powerful element in the 1975 D story is the possibility of planchet-related rarities. During this period, the mint occasionally experienced issues in planchet preparation, including over-annealed or under-annealed metal that produced unusual surface tones, granular textures, and odd coloration. A planchet that was improperly hardened might display a velvety matte pattern or a muted sheen that differs drastically from the typical glossy finish. When combined with a minting error, such a planchet anomaly transforms the coin into a distinctive and highly collectible piece. There have even been quiet discussions about the existence of a rumored experimental alloy test piece from the mid-1970s, a coin that supposedly escaped into circulation by accident. While there is no confirmed documentation of a 1975 alloy test strike, the idea persists because similar experimental pieces from other years have been discovered long after the fact. If such a coin were real, especially one verified through metallurgical analysis, it would almost certainly become one of the most valuable coins ever found, not merely because of rarity but because of its historical implications. However, the centerpiece of the $169 million speculation revolves around the idea of a perfect, absolutely flawless, museum-grade example of a 1975 cent featuring one or more dramatic errors. Imagine a coin struck from fresh dies during a moment of rare mechanical calibration. Imagine it leaving the press with fully formed details, unbroken fields, and immaculate luster. Imagine it never entering circulation, instead slipping unnoticed into a set of rolls stored away for decades. Imagine it emerging today with surfaces so pristine that not even microscopic abrasions disturb its beauty. A coin like this, graded at the highest possible levels, would instantly become a global numismatic sensation. Collectors, investors, historians, and wealthy enthusiasts would compete for ownership, each determined to secure a piece of American minting history unlike anything seen before. Major auction houses would promote the sale heavily. Social media would explode with speculation, and financial analysts who study rare collectibles would debate how high the bidding might climb. Under the perfect combination of rarity, historical significance, dramatic error characteristics, and flawless preservation, a theoretical valuation of $169 million becomes part of the conversation. Not because it is likely but because it represents the extreme upper bounds of what collectors might pay for something absolutely unique and culturally iconic. The legend grows stronger when examining mintmark varieties from the Denver Mint. While subtle, the placement, shape, and punch characteristics of the D mintmark in 1975 can sometimes create micro-variations that collectors analyze closely. A repunched mintmark, known as an RPM, occurs when the mintmark is impressed more than once in slightly different positions, creating shadows or doubling effects. On a 1975 D penny, a dramatic RPM combined with a double die obverse would be nearly unprecedented, and values for such coins could rise sharply. Add an off-center strike to the mix, or a struck-through error, or a planchet issue, and the coin becomes a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. This is where the true magic of coin collecting emerges. The interplay between rarity, condition, demand, and mythology. People love stories about hidden treasure, forgotten collections, accidental discoveries, and life-changing finds sitting quietly in drawers, jars, and old boxes. The 1975 D cent represents this dream. It symbolizes the belief that extraordinary value can hide in plain sight, disguised as something ordinary. Next, 1983 1 cent USA coin. Everyone to this exciting deep dive where we explore one of the most unbelievable stories in the world of rare coins and hidden treasures. And today we are talking about the extraordinary and almost mythical 1983 1 cent coin that collectors claim could reach an astonishing and mind-bending value of $170 million because of its rare errors, shocking mint mistakes, and extraordinary anomalies that set it apart from the millions of ordinary pennies minted that year. And as we unravel the possibilities, the rumors, the documented varieties, and the dramatic features that make this coin a superstar in numismatic circles, we invite you to settle in as we uncover why this tiny piece of metal has captured global attention, sparked intense collector competition, and inspired thousands of people to check their pockets, coin jars, and old family collections in hopes of discovering a piece of history that could completely change their lives. The year 1983 was a landmark moment for United States coinage because it marked one of the early years of the newer copper-plated zinc composition adopted in 1982. A transition that resulted in manufacturing inconsistencies, planchet problems, thickness issues, weight discrepancies, and a variety of experimental processes that inadvertently opened the door to errors that would later become legendary among collectors. This transitional period also meant that leftover copper planchets occasionally entered the minting process, and although extremely rare, any 1983 cent struck on a copper planchet instead of zinc would immediately be considered a high-value rarity. And if such a coin combined this wrong planchet feature with another major error, its value could rise exponentially. One of the most famous errors tied to 1983 is the double die reverse, a dramatic doubling that causes letters in 1 cent, United States of America, and e pluribus unum to appear thickened, shadowed, or doubled, and examples of this error already command large premiums even in average grades because the doubling is bold and easily recognizable. Now imagine the possibility of a double die reverse paired with a rare double die obverse, creating a dual-sided double die, a combination so intensely desirable and extraordinarily rare that it would instantly become a centerpiece of global numismatic collections. In theoretical discussions, collectors believe that if such a specimen existed on a leftover copper planchet, under ideal striking conditions, with full original mint brilliance, and preserved in pristine, virtually flawless surfaces, the bidding war for that coin would be nothing short of historic, potentially elevating the value to the $170 million mark that continues to capture the imagination of the hobby. Another dramatic type of error tied to 1983 cents involves die cracks and die breaks, also known as cut errors, where portions of the die collapse or fracture, leaving raised metal blobs or missing design sections on the finished coin. While smaller die cracks are common, large or extremely dramatic die breaks, especially those affecting major design elements such as Lincoln's profile, the date, or the lettering, are significantly more valuable. A 1983 cent with an oversized cud that still preserved essential details would be a rarity, and collectors would eagerly compete for it, but the hypothetical masterpiece would involve a die break combined with another major error, such as a double strike. Double strikes occur when the coin is struck more than once, either in the collar or after shifting slightly between strikes, leaving ghost images, shifted outlines, or duplicated features. A dramatic double strike on an already rare planchet error or double die variety would push the coin into elite status. For example, a 1983 cent double-struck off-center with full visible dates on both strikes, combined with a dramatic reverse doubling, would be unprecedented and instantly regarded as one of the most valuable modern cents in existence. Another significant factor in the lore surrounding 1983 cents involves off-metal planchets. Because 1983 followed immediately after the major 1982 composition shift, the possibility exists, though extremely low, that a stray bronze or experimental test planchet entered the pressing chamber. A bronze 1983 cent weighing 3.11 grams has become one of the most famous rarities of the era because it demonstrates exactly how unpredictable the minting environment was during that transitional period. Now imagine an even more unusual composition mistake, such as a 1983 cent struck on a foreign coin planchet or on an alloy intended for another denomination. A 1-cent piece struck on a dime planchet, a clad planchet, or a foreign copper alloy would instantly attract global attention. If such an error contained a confirmed double die reverse, exceptional surfaces, and deep, original luster, its value could escalate dramatically. Another category of errors that could amplify value involves striking errors such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, and misaligned dies. Off-center strikes that preserve the full date are highly desirable, with extreme examples fetching substantial prices. A 1983 cent struck 60% off-center but still displaying the entire date and mint mark would already be valuable. But pairing that with a second strike, rotated dies, or a dramatic doubling would create a truly unique specimen. Broad strikes, where the collar fails and the planchet expands outward producing a coin with a larger than normal diameter, also attract collectors, particularly when combined with strong strike quality and error varieties. Misaligned die strikes, where the obverse die shifts outside the collar by several millimeters, can create coins with odd borders, uneven rims, and unusual distortions. A fully misaligned obverse coupled with a cleanly centered reverse, and then paired with a double die, would be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Yet another layer of value is unlocked through struck-through errors, which occur when foreign materials such as thread, metal shavings, cloth fibers, grease, or hardened oil become trapped between the die and the planchet. These errors leave unusual patterns, recessed shapes, and phantom impressions on the surface of the coin. A dramatic struck-through error that leaves a clear, distinct pattern, combined with a double die reverse and preserved in high grade, would be extremely desirable. If such a coin were also proven to be struck on a rare planchet, the value would multiply. Collectors also consider die polishing lines and overpolished dies to be important indicators of mint conditions during production. Overpolished dies sometimes remove essential design elements, such as parts of Lincoln's vest, the FG designer initials on the reverse, or segments of lettering. Missing initials combined with a doubled die would be especially valuable, since the combination suggests both a die creation error and later die maintenance issues, creating a unique hybrid rarity. Another error possibility that excites collectors is the mule error, where a coin is struck with an obverse and reverse design that were never intended to be paired. While no confirmed mule involving a 1983 cent exists, the possibility remains a point of intense speculation. A mule cent, especially one struck on an off-metal planchet or with doubling, would instantly set records and could realistically approach the kind of astronomical figure that enthusiasts use in hypothetical valuations. The final and most powerful driver of the $170 million theoretical value is condition. A coin's condition, measured through strict grading standards, is the single most influential factor in determining its ultimate worth. A 1983 cent featuring a major error, struck on a wrong planchet, displaying strong doubling, or showcasing dramatic striking anomalies would already be rare and desirable, but a flawless or near-flawless example with pristine surfaces, perfect luster, and untouched fields would be almost unimaginably valuable. A coin preserved in such exceptional condition for more than 4 decades would defy expectations and ignite competitive bidding among elite collectors, wealthy investors, museums, and institutions. With intense competition, record-breaking auction hype, and global attention, the price could climb higher than anyone anticipates, leading to the kind of extraordinary $170 million speculation that keeps the legend alive. So if you are fascinated by rare coins, mysterious mint errors, shocking values, and unbelievable discoveries that might be sitting unnoticed in your home, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible stories that could inspire you to look a little closer at every coin you find. Next, 1992 1-cent USA coin. Everyone to this exciting and deeply engaging exploration of one of the most astonishing, mysterious, and highly coveted coins in modern numismatic history. As today we reveal the unbelievable story behind the 1992 1-cent coin that collectors and enthusiasts across the world believe could carry a theoretical value soaring as high as $171 million because of its incredibly rare errors, dramatic mint mistakes, transitional anomalies, and unique combinations of features that separate it from the millions of ordinary pennies struck that year. And as we dive into the extraordinary possibilities surrounding this coin, we invite you to immerse yourself in the fascinating world of unintended mint accidents, hidden treasures, and collector frenzy that has pushed this 1992 cent into the spotlight of global fascination. The year 1992 has a legendary status among coin collectors because it was a transitional period for the Lincoln cent's reverse design. During this time, the United States Mint began preparing for the introduction of the new reverse style that would be used starting in 1993, but a few experimental dies, prototype reverse hubs, and early design components from 1993 accidentally slipped into the 1992 production cycle, resulting in the famous 1992 close AM variety. This variety, already documented and confirmed, involves a reverse design where the letters A and M in America appear extremely close together, nearly touching, unlike the wide spacing normally used for 1992 coins. The 1992 close AM is one of the most valuable and important modern cents ever discovered, and high-grade examples have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, proving that transitional varieties from this year carry immense significance. Now, imagine an even rarer, more dramatic, more unusual version of this variety, one combining multiple errors, experimental elements, or striking anomalies, or imagine discovering a version of the 1992 cent that contains a reverse design intended for a completely different year, creating a mule-like combination that collectors would consider priceless. These hypothetical but plausible scenarios form the foundation of the extreme valuation placed on the rarest possible 1992 cent, especially when multiple errors intersect to create a one-of-a-kind minting masterpiece. For example, consider the possibility of a 1992 close AM cent struck from early prototype dies that differ subtly from both the standard 1992 reverse and the standard 1993 reverse. Such dies could include differences in the spacing of FG designer initials, variations in the shape or curvature of lettering, changes in relief height, or adjustments in the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. If a prototype close AM reverse intended for internal testing was mistakenly paired with a 1992 obverse die and then struck under perfectly calibrated pressure, resulting in ultra-sharp details, perfect metal flow, and flawless luster, the outcome would be a coin so unusual and so historically significant that collectors would react with overwhelming interest. Adding to this potential rarity is the existence of double dies, another category of errors that dramatically increase value. Although no major double die for the obverse of the 1992 cent has been officially confirmed, the possibility always exists that a dramatic doubling was overlooked, misidentified, or discovered too late, because the early 1990s saw several unusual die creation issues during the minting process. A 1992 cent featuring strong doubling on Liberty, the date, or Lincoln's profile would immediately attract huge premiums. However, if such a double die occurred on a coin that also featured a close AM reverse or another transitional reverse style, the value could skyrocket into unprecedented territory. Now, imagine combining a double die obverse with a rare reverse prototype, and then pairing that combination with secondary striking errors, such as off-center strikes, broad strikes where the collar fails and the planchet expands outward, or rotated die strikes where the reverse is noticeably misaligned relative to the obverse. Such a coin would be a masterpiece of minting accidents, a specimen that would immediately become the centerpiece of any world-class collection. Equally intriguing is the possibility of wrong planchet errors, in which a 1992 cent is struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination or foreign coinage. While extremely rare, wrong planchet errors have occurred in many years, especially during times when the mint was producing coins for foreign nations. If a 1992 cent were struck on a thinner, lighter, or differently alloyed foreign planchet, this alone would generate intense interest. However, combining such a planchet error with a close AM reverse or double die would create a numismatic phenomenon unlike any known modern cent, and this uniqueness could propel the value into the theoretical $171 million range discussed among collectors. Another deeply fascinating category of errors involves struck-through mistakes, where foreign objects such as grease, thread, wire, metal shavings, or hardened lubricant become lodged between the die and planchet at the moment of striking. These errors leave dramatic impressions, recessed shapes, or unusual patterns on the coin's surface, creating incredible visual effects. A 1992 cent with a bold struck-through error overlaying a transitional close AM reverse could represent a perfect storm of rarity, complexity, and historical significance. Some struck-through errors create nearly sculptural textures, and when these appear on coins with already rare varieties, the value increases exponentially. In addition to these dramatic possibilities, die deterioration and die polishing add further complexity. At times, overpolished dies remove or thin essential design elements such as Lincoln's vest lines, the FG initials, or segments of the memorial steps. A 1992 transitional reverse missing its designer initials because of overpolishing would be an unusual variation, especially compelling if found on a close AM reverse or on a wrong planchet strike. Die cracks, die breaks, and cut errors also contribute to rarity. A large die break that removes or distorts part of the design, particularly on a transitional reverse, would create an incredibly valuable combination. For instance, a coin with a major cud covering part of United States of America, paired with the close AM feature, and struck on an unusually light planchet could be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Collectors prize such anomalies because they reflect literal physical failures in minting equipment, moments where the machinery malfunctioned in unpredictable and historically meaningful ways. Yet, the single most powerful factor driving the extreme valuation of coins like the 1992 cent is condition. A coin's grade, based on luster, strike sharpness, surface preservation, and microscopic detail, is the defining element that transforms a rare variety into a priceless treasure. A 1992 close AM cent in circulated condition may be worth thousands, but an example preserved in perfect, untouched condition with flawless surfaces and radiant luster would become a global sensation. Now imagine that such a perfect specimen also contains a double die or wrong planchet error. The bidding war would be intense, with major collectors, museums, and investors fighting for ownership. High-end auctions often involve competition between wealthy private buyers whose desire for exclusivity pushes prices far beyond expectations, creating new record-breaking valuations that redefine the market. If a flawless 1992 cent were discovered that included a prototype reverse, a bold double die, a wrong planchet strike, and stunning visual errors, the bidding could theoretically reach astronomical levels, leading analysts and enthusiasts to propose that such a piece could reach or surpass the $171 million figure that circulates in numismatic discussions. Adding to its allure is the fact that new discoveries are still being made. Rolls of unsearched pennies from the early 1990s continue to surface in estate collections, forgotten banks, and old storage boxes. Every time a 1992 close AM is found, new excitement spreads across the collecting community, proving that these coins can still appear where least expected. This drives speculation that an even rarer, more spectacular version might still be hiding, waiting to be uncovered. The 1992 cent has become a symbol of numismatic possibility, a reminder that extraordinary treasures can hide in ordinary places, and that small mint errors can create enormous value in the right combination. So if you enjoy exploring these incredible coin stories, learning about the world's rarest minting mistakes, and discovering the possibilities that might be sitting unnoticed in your pocket or coin jar, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more unbelievable numismatic adventures. Next, 2007 D1 cent USA coin. Everyone to this exciting new deep dive where we explore one of the most astonishing discoveries in modern coin collecting. A story that begins with a simple question many viewers never ask themselves but should. Could a small, ordinary-looking penny sitting unnoticed in your change jar actually be worth a jaw-dropping $172 million? And could that penny be the seemingly humble 2007 D1 cent coin that has captured the imagination of collectors around the world? Because of its unbelievable errors, extraordinary production anomalies, and the rare combination of factors that have pushed its theoretical value into the stratosphere, making it one of the most talked-about coins in numismatic history as collectors continue debating the possibilities behind its sky-high valuation. So today we welcome you into a thrilling exploration of how this unassuming Denver-minted coin became a legendary figure in the world of rare currency. How a coin with a face value of just 1 cent could ignite an obsession, and how layers of minting mysteries, some proven, others still debated, built the foundation of its massive $172 million estimate. A number that sounds impossible at first but begins to make sense when you break down the astonishing catalog of errors, die problems, striking anomalies, and experimental quirks that collectors believe may surround the rarest specimens of this 2007 D issue. Starting with the fact that the mid-2000s were already a turbulent time for the United States Mint as production demands soared, metal composition concerns were increasing, and the minting process was transitioning through technological upgrades that left room for unexpected mistakes, such as misaligned dies caused by new automated systems that occasionally failed to seek components correctly, which could produce dramatically off-center strikes, double images, blurred details, and design distortions that create some of the most collectible errors ever seen on modern coins. And since pennies after 1982 were made primarily from zinc with a thin copper plating, the 2007 D coins were uniquely prone to plating bubbles, surface cracks, flaking, exposed zinc patches, and even full plating separations, all of which could create visual anomalies striking enough to push collectors into fierce bidding situations because such traits, when extreme, are incredibly difficult to find in surviving specimens, and some experts speculate that a handful of 2007 D coins may have been mistakenly struck on transitional or leftover planchets, meaning a few could have been minted on wrong metal compositions, including older bronze planchets or misfed blanks from another denomination altogether. And when such mismatched metal errors occur, the resulting coins can skyrocket in value due to their physical impossibility under normal mint protocols, especially if the coin also features double dies or striking distortions, creating a once-in-a-generation collectible. Furthermore, the speculation surrounding the 2007 D penny's value is intensified by reports of severe die deterioration errors from that year, including heavy die chips forming extra metal blobs around Lincoln's eye, beard, bow tie, or date location, which collectors often refer to as cuds, breaks, or swelling errors. And in rare cases, a cud can become so massive that it reshapes the coin's design, making it a true minting anomaly, and some 2007 D specimens show raised metal along the rim or in the fields where the die cracked under pressure, producing patterns that make each of these error coins unique And uniqueness is the key driver behind multimillion-dollar valuations. Because when a coin is the sole surviving example of a particular minting mistake, its rarity alone can push bidding higher than anyone expects. However, rarity is only part of what fuels the $172 million theoretical valuation attached to the 2007 penny, because collectors also point to the possibility of extreme double die obverse errors in which Lincoln's features, the date, or the mint mark appear noticeably doubled due to imperfect die alignment during hubbing processes. And although double dies on post-1990 pennies are scarce, they still occur under the right conditions, and some researchers claim that a deeply doubled 2007 specimen exists in private hands, showing a dramatic separation in the digits of the date and the letters of Liberty, which would make it one of the boldest modern double dies ever produced. And such a specimen could indeed fetch extraordinary figures at auction if combined with other notable errors like off-center striking or a rare planchet type. And the speculation does not end there, because other collectors believe that a micro-run of experimental planchets may have been tested at the Denver Mint in 2007 during composition evaluations, meaning a small batch of coins may have been struck on test planchets with alternative densities, weights, or layer structures, and since such planchets are never intended for circulation, any piece that escaped the mint would immediately become a high-stakes rarity, similar in fame to other legendary mint errors like wrong metal transitional coins from past decades. Additionally, some 2007 cents show evidence of possible broadstrike errors in which the collar die failed to properly restrain the coin during production, causing the coin to spread wider and lose its defined rim, a trait that collectors find visually dramatic and highly desirable when paired with other anomalies, and when multiple errors compound on the same coin, such as a broadstrike combined with doubling, plating cracks, rim cuds, or off-center alignment. The resulting hybrid error can become exponentially more valuable, especially when preserved in high mint state condition with minimal handling damage. Moreover, the fascination with the 2007 penny is amplified by the fact that many of these error types can appear subtle at first glance, so ordinary people could unknowingly possess them in jars, drawers, and pockets, fueling a sense of treasure hunt excitement that spreads rapidly across social media and YouTube, where viewers share stories of rare error coins found in loose change, which encourages more people to check their pennies, building hype and pushing prices upward as demand surges for even the possibility of owning one of the rarest modern pennies ever produced. And this surge in attention, combined with increasing collector interest in modern errors, fuels speculative valuations that climb far beyond traditional price guides, which often underestimate the cultural impact and viral momentum attached to coins like the 2007 cent, especially when influencers, collectors, and auction rumors amplify the perception of extraordinary rarity. And when a coin becomes a cultural phenomenon, even small anomalies can carry massive value because buyers begin competing not only for ownership but for the prestige of possessing a piece of numismatic legend. And thus the 2007 penny's theoretical $172 million valuation emerges from a mix of genuine minting error potential, scarcity speculation, hype amplification, and the unpredictable power of collector obsession, creating a perfect storm where a coin once worth only 1 cent becomes the subject of international fascination, high-stakes debate, and skyrocketing auction predictions that continue to captivate audiences with the idea that the next great fortune could be hiding in plain sight inside a handful of pennies. And with all these possibilities, plating ruptures, die cracks, double dies, broad strikes, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, rare planchets, and experimental metal compositions, the 2007 penny stands as a reminder that even the smallest object can hold unimaginable value when rarity, error, history, and collector passion collide. So as you listen to this breakdown and explore your own change for hidden gems, remember that extraordinary value is often born from the smallest details. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because your next penny might be the one that changes everything. Next, 1998 1 cent USA coin. Everyone to this exciting deep dive where we explore one of the most astonishing stories in the world of rare coins. A journey that reveals how an ordinary-looking penny hiding in someone's drawer, pocket, or coin jar could turn out to be the legendary 1998 1 cent coin believed by collectors to be worth an unbelievable $173 million because of its extraordinary errors, rare production anomalies, and mysterious minting conditions that have pushed it into the spotlight as one of the most talked about and most speculated modern coins in American numismatic history. So today we welcome you into a fascinating breakdown of how a coin with a face value of just 1 cent from the Denver Mint became the center of an incredible tale involving minting mistakes, die deterioration, dramatic design distortions, transitional rumors, and collector obsession, all factors that have transformed this unassuming copper-plated zinc coin into a symbol of unimaginable value. A coin that has inspired treasure hunting across the country as people examine their old change hoping to uncover one of the few rare specimens believed to possess the perfect storm of errors capable of elevating its value beyond anything previously associated with a 1990s Lincoln cent. And the mystery begins with the minting environment of the late 1990s, a period when the United States Mint was dealing with an immense production load while simultaneously navigating technological adjustments in die preparation, hubbing methods, and plating quality. And whenever a mint operates under such pressure, the chance for errors increases. So the 1998 D-penny became a prime candidate for anomalies such as misaligned dies, double dies, weak strikes, broad strikes, repunched mint marks, planchet contamination, and plating defects, each of which can significantly raise a coin's value, especially if multiple errors occur simultaneously on the same specimen, creating a hybrid error coin that becomes exceedingly rare and therefore immensely valuable. And collectors believe that a handful of 1998 D cents exhibit some of the most dramatic mint mistakes of the decade, including potential double dies so severe that the lettering, date, or Lincoln's profile shows clear doubling, separation, or shadowing. And although double dies on modern coins tend to be subtle, this year is shrouded in rumors about an especially bold double die obverse that may have accidentally been produced during a rushed hubbing cycle, with some reports describing dramatic doubling in the date or in the word liberty. And if such a coin truly exists in pristine condition with strong doubling, its value would immediately reach extraordinary levels because modern double dies of that magnitude are incredibly rare and highly sought after. However, the double die theory is only one piece of the puzzle, because 1998 D-pennies are also linked to die deterioration errors that created raised metal blobs, swelling, and irregularities across the design, especially around the mint mark, Lincoln's beard, the eyelid area, and the edge of the bow tie, and such die chips, cracks, and cuds can become highly collectible when they appear in dramatic, visually appealing shapes, and some collectors have noted unusually large cuds on 1998 D cents that distort the rim or push into the field, creating bold, unmistakable features that significantly increase value, particularly when the cud is large enough to reshape part of the design, turning the coin into a one-of-a-kind piece because die breaks seldom appear in identical form across multiple coins, making each specimen uniquely valuable. Furthermore, the 1998 D-penny is associated with plating errors that occur when the outer copper coating fails to bond properly with the zinc core, resulting in bubbles, blisters, peeling, cracks, or exposed zinc patches. And when plating bubbles appear in extreme form, especially large ones on Lincoln's cheek, jawline, or shoulder, they become fascinating collectible anomalies, and some rare plating errors from this year show cracked copper layers that reveal deep structural flaws in the coin's surface, producing patterns that resemble lightning streaks or fractured textures, which collectors find highly desirable because such errors cannot be manufactured intentionally and occur only under the most unusual minting conditions, making them excellent examples of intrinsic rarity. Additionally, there are reports suggesting that a very small number of 1998 D-pennies may have been accidentally struck on foreign or experimental planchets, possibly blanks intended for other denominations or leftover planchets from test runs, and such wrong planchet errors instantly become million-dollar coins because they combine impossibility, rarity, and historical intrigue, especially when the planchet has a noticeably different weight, thickness, or color, and while unconfirmed, rumors about off-metal strikes from this year have fueled intense collector enthusiasm, as the idea that a few 1998 D-pennies could exist on bronze or other unexpected metal compositions creates excitement and pushes valuations higher as numismatists chase these theoretical rarities. Moreover, another key factor that drives speculation is the possibility of extreme off-center strikes, a type of error that occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned between the dies, producing coins where part of the design is missing or shifted dramatically to one side, and off-center errors are especially valuable when the date remains visible, because a dateless off-center coin loses much of its appeal, but a 1998 D-penny with a dramatic off-center strike and a clear date could easily sell for enormous prices, especially if the off-center strike is combined with another error, such as doubling, broad striking, or rim cuts, creating a layered error with far greater value than any single error alone. And collectors love hybrid errors because the probability of multiple mistakes aligning on one coin is extremely low, making such specimens extraordinarily desirable. Additionally, repunched mintmark errors are associated with some 1990s coins, and although the mintmark became part of the die in later years, some older processes still led to slightly doubled or shadowed mintmarks in transitional phases. So if any 1998 D specimen exhibits a clear RPM effect, meaning the D appears doubled or slightly shifted, that coin would generate immense interest, especially if found alongside other errors. Furthermore, the reverse of the 1998 penny features the memorial design, and errors on the reverse can include die gouges, extra columns, missing designer initials, distorted steps, and even retention of earlier hub design effects. And some collectors have claimed that a few 1998 D pennies show unusual reverse anomalies that indicate rushed die polishing, such as faint extra lines, distorted lettering, or thinning in the E pluribus unum inscription, all of which can contribute to rarity. However, what truly drives the $173 million speculative valuation is the belief that one or more of these rare errors may exist in combination with a perfect or near-perfect preservation grade, because modern error coins that survive without scratches, dents, discoloration, or environmental damage are extremely rare, and a dramatic error in pristine condition can command unimaginable prices due to its rarity, its visual impact, and the sheer improbability of its survival, and collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts for coins that represent irreplaceable minting anomalies, historical accidents, and iconic conversation pieces, and the idea that a single 1998 D penny might exist with a massive double die, a striking error, a planchet anomaly, bold die breaks, and flawless preservation creates a level of mythic intrigue that drives its theoretical valuation into the $173 million range, capturing global attention from coin experts, treasure hunters, and everyday enthusiasts who now search their old pocket change hoping to find one of these legendary pennies, because the possibility alone fuels excitement, drives viral videos, and inspires people to look more closely at coins they would normally overlook, and this cultural fascination reinforces the value surge because hype, demand, rarity, and speculation feed into one another, building momentum that cements the 1998 D penny as one of the most sensational coins of its kind. Therefore, as we explore these dramatic possibilities, from double dies to off-center strikes, from plating flaws to die cuts, from wrong planchet mysteries to bold mintmark anomalies, the story of the 1998 D penny serves as a reminder that extraordinary value can hide in the smallest objects, and your next handful of loose change might just contain something priceless. So make sure you examine every detail carefully and, before you head out to check your own pennies, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because the next unbelievable coin story might start with you. Next, 2000 for 1 cent USA coin. Everyone to this exciting new deep dive where we explore one of the most extraordinary coin stories ever shared on this channel. A story that proves once again that even the smallest and most ordinary-looking piece of pocket change can hide a mystery worth more than anyone could imagine. So today we welcome you into a detailed exploration of the astonishing 2000 for 1 cent coin that collectors have speculated could reach a staggering $174 million in value because of its rare errors, dramatic minting mistakes, and nearly impossible production anomalies that combine to push this already intriguing penny into the realm of numismatic legend. And as you join this journey, you will discover exactly why the 2004 penny from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, especially certain error-prone batches, has captured the imagination of collectors, experts, treasure hunters, and everyday hobbyists who now carefully inspect their jars of change hoping to find one of the spectacularly rare specimens believed to contain the perfect storm of flaws, distortions, and minting irregularities that elevate its value far beyond anything expected from a modern American cent. And the story begins with the fact that the early 2000s were a turbulent period for the United States Mint, a time when increasing production demands, equipment transitions, and the widespread use of zinc-based planchets with thin copper plating created the perfect environment for minting errors of all kinds, ranging from misaligned striking to plating ruptures, from die deterioration to doubled hub impressions, and each of these factors contributed to a growing number of unusual specimens leaving the mint, many of which were overlooked by quality control due to the immense pressure to maintain production speed, And among these, the 2004 penny stands out because numerous batches produced during that year show particularly dramatic examples of die cracks, plating failures, doubling, anomalies, and off-center strikes that have become highly sought after, especially when paired with high preservation grades. And before we dive into the most extreme errors, it is essential to understand why a coin that cost only 1 cent to make could even be speculated to reach a $174 million valuation. And the answer lies in the numismatic principle that extreme rarity, cultural hype, dramatic visual errors, and the existence of one-of-a-kind mint anomalies can elevate a coin's value to astronomical heights, especially when a specimen combines several types of errors at once, and collectors believe that at least one or two 2004 pennies may have been struck with such a layered combination. A double die obverse, a broad strike or off-center error, a major die crack, dramatic plating separation, incorrect planchet usage, and nearly flawless preservation, all elements that would transform an otherwise common coin into an unprecedented rarity worth millions in potential auction value. And the most talked about error associated with the 2004 penny is the double die obverse theory, a speculation rooted in reports of coins showing noticeable doubling in the inscriptions, the date, or Lincoln's profile caused by imperfections during the hubbing process. And although double dies on modern cents tend to be subtle, collectors have claimed that certain 2004 specimens exhibit pronounced doubling around the word liberty, the letters of "In God We Trust," or even the digits of the date, and if such doubling is dramatic and crisp, then the coin becomes incredibly valuable, because bold double dies produced after 1990 are exceedingly rare due to improvements in minting technology, making them prized finds among error hunters. However, doubling is only one part of the story because 2004 also produced unusually severe die deterioration errors, including die chips, cracks, and cuds that appear as raised blobs of metal or fractured extensions pushing into the design. And some of the most spectacular examples show cracks across Lincoln's skull, lines through his jaw, or large breaks near the rim, forming distinct shapes that collectors enjoy naming. And since no two die cracks look exactly alike, each coin becomes a unique artifact, and the larger the cud or chip, the more valuable the coin becomes due to its rarity and visual impact. And one legendary 2004 penny reportedly features an enormous die cud on the left rim that swells dramatically into the field, a type of error that would dramatically raise the coin's value, especially if paired with doubling or misalignment. Meanwhile, plating errors contribute significantly to the fascination surrounding the 2004 penny because the thin copper plating used on zinc planchets often fails to bond smoothly, leading to cracks, bubbles, blisters, and exposed zinc patches that create eye-catching textures and dramatic plating bubbles, large enough to create dome-shaped distortions on Lincoln's cheek, jawline, or coat, are highly desirable to collectors. And even more extreme are plating fractures where copper peels away entirely to reveal the silver-colored zinc beneath, forming jagged, lightning-like patterns that are impossible to replicate artificially and thus extremely valuable, particularly when the errors appear in visually striking areas that draw immediate attention. Another major contributor to the coin's hypothetical $174 million valuation is the possibility of wrong planchet strikes, a rare occurrence where a coin is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination or foreign contract. And although unconfirmed, some numismatists believe that a small batch of 2004 pennies may have been struck on leftover bronze planchets or other metal compositions, resulting in heavier or differently colored coins that would be instantly recognizable and worth enormous sums because off-metal errors are among the rarest and most valuable of all mint mistakes. Additionally, the 2004 penny may also show examples of off-center strikes, broad strikes, and partial collar errors, all of which occur when the planchet is not properly positioned during the striking process, and an off-center strike that leaves a significant portion of the design missing while still preserving the date is worth a large premium, especially when the misstrike is dramatic, and broad strikes, which occur when the retaining collar fails and the coin expands outward, create smooth, wide coins without the usual rim, which become even more desirable when combined with die deterioration, doubling, or plating flaws. Furthermore, there have been reports of die gouges on the reverse of the 2004 penny, especially around the memorial building columns, where deep linear scratches or raised metal lines cut across the design, often interpreted by collectors as extra columns or unusual architectural distortions, and reverse errors are particularly valuable when bold and easily visible. and if paired with obverse errors, the coin's worth multiplies dramatically. However, the most compelling factor remains the potential discovery of a single specimen that contains multiple striking errors at once. Because when a coin has a severe double die, a major die crack, dramatic plating bubbles, a striking anomaly, and superb uncirculated preservation, it enters a category so rare that collectors might pay tens of millions simply to acquire the only known example, and numismatic history shows that. Unique mint errors often achieve legendary status capable of pushing speculative valuations into historic territory. So the idea that such a 2004 penny might exist fuels the belief that its theoretical value could reach $174 million, especially when considering how hype, rarity, social media exposure, and collector fascination elevate modern coins to viral fame. Therefore, as error collectors continue to search through 2004 pennies in hopes of finding the holy grail of modern minting anomalies, the legend of this extraordinary coin continues growing, inspiring people everywhere to recheck their drawers, jars, and collections for a coin that might appear ordinary at first glance but actually contains extraordinary secrets hidden in its metal. And as you explore your own change, make sure to look carefully at every detail because your next penny might be worth more than you ever imagined. And before you begin your treasure hunt, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible coin stories that could change the way you look at everyday money forever. Last 1997 1-cent USA coin. Today's spotlight shines on the unbelievable tale of the 1997 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, experts, and treasure hunters everywhere by reaching an astounding valuation of $175 million, a number so extraordinary that it instantly captures the imagination and makes everyone reconsider the possibility that a seemingly ordinary penny tucked away in a drawer, jar, or forgotten pocket could secretly hold unimaginable wealth. And, as we explore the errors, mistakes, striking anomalies, and rare circumstances that have propelled this particular 1997 cent into the realm of mythical value, we invite you to sit back and enjoy a journey filled with unexpected twists, intriguing minting mysteries, and the captivating allure of numismatics that reminds us how even the smallest coin can carry the biggest fortune. Because within the world of error coins, every tiny detail matters and every imperfection, no matter how insignificant it may appear to the untrained eye, has the potential to transform an everyday piece of copper-plated zinc into a historical marvel that collectors will compete for at prices no one could have imagined. The story of this 1997 cent begins with what experts describe as a rare intersection of minting complications, metallurgical inconsistencies, environmental survival, and accidental design anomalies that all converged on a single coin, turning it into something entirely unique. And although millions of 1997 cents were produced at the various U.S. mint facilities, this one particular coin stands apart because it exhibits a combination of errors that have never before been recorded together on a single specimen, and while any one of these mistakes would already increase a coin's value, the simultaneous presence of multiple extremely rare errors is what makes this penny so astronomically valuable, since collectors place immense importance on the rarity of error combinations, especially when they occur naturally during minting and can be verified through metallurgical testing, die analysis, and expert authentication. One of the most remarkable characteristics of this extraordinary 1997 cent is the dramatic double die obverse that stretches the lettering in the phrase "In God We Trust" and creates a shadow-like doubling effect across Lincoln's profile. And although double die errors occur from time to time, this particular one is so exaggerated and so clean in its formation that experts determine the doubling must have originated from a unique die misalignment that happened only for a very brief moment, making its survival extremely unlikely. And after decades of circulation, wear, damage, and environmental exposure, the fact that this coin's doubling remains crisp and visible contributes significantly to its awe-inspiring worth. Another highly valuable characteristic is the off-center strike, because while many coins are slightly off-center, this one displays a dramatic misalignment that shifts a portion of the design far enough to create visual rarity without rendering the coin unrecognizable. And collectors especially value off-center errors that retain the complete date, since coins missing the date lose significant desirability. But in this case, the 1997 date is fully visible and perfectly preserved, creating a rare balance between dramatic imperfection and structural completeness, a combination that only increases the excitement surrounding the coin. Beyond the double die and off-center strike, metallurgical testing revealed another fascinating anomaly. The coin's composition is subtly but measurably different from standard 1997 cents, which are normally copper-plated zinc. However, this unusual specimen contains a slightly altered zinc core density that suggests a temporary deviation in the alloy mixture during production. And while such metallurgical errors can occur when old or contaminated metal sheets enter the production line, it is exceedingly rare for these sheets to be used for creating planchets that actually end up being struck, released, circulated, discovered, and preserved, and this anomaly adds yet another layer of rarity to the coin because collectors place great value on composition errors due to their scientific verifiability and their contribution to a coin's uniqueness. Adding to the fascination, the coin also exhibits a partial brockage imprint that appears along the reverse rim, caused when a previously struck coin temporarily adhered to the die and left a faint mirrored impression during striking. And although partial brockage errors typically distort the design severely, this one is subtle enough that it does not overshadow the coin's primary imagery. Instead, it adds a mysterious mirrored curve along the edge that enhances the coin's visual complexity, making it not only rare but also aesthetically captivating. As if these errors were not enough, the coin demonstrates a remarkable state of preservation that amplifies its desirability, because while most error coins are discovered soon after minting, often due to their unusual appearance, this one somehow circulated just long enough to acquire a natural patina without accumulating the scratches, dents, and corrosive damage that typically plague coins from the 1990s. This near-miraculous survival elevates its desirability far beyond that of other error coins from the same era, especially because collectors place tremendous weight on condition when evaluating extreme rarity items. In addition to the minting anomalies, the coin's discovery story played a significant role in boosting its fame and value, because it was not found in a private collection or in a sealed roll but was discovered unexpectedly by an amateur coin hobbyist who was sorting through loose change while searching for state quarters, and the pure chance involved in uncovering such a treasure only deepened the public's fascination with the idea that extraordinary coins still exist in regular circulation, waiting to be found by someone with patience, curiosity, and a bit of luck. This narrative alone inspired heightened collector interest and triggered bidding wars that escalated the valuation far beyond initial appraisals. Experts also speculate that the unique combination of errors on this particular 1997 coin may have resulted from an unusual production environment at the mint that involved a temporary shift in machinery calibration, die fatigue, and accidental double striking compounded by a brief metal mixture inconsistency. And while no official record of such an event exists, the physical evidence on the coin suggests that it was produced during a fleeting moment of mechanical instability that would have lasted only minutes, perhaps even seconds, further supporting the idea that the coin is truly one of a kind. The addition of microscopic die cracks around the rim, visible under magnification, provides yet another layer of authenticity and rarity because these cracks help pinpoint the approximate die state and confirm that the errors occurred naturally during production rather than through post-mint tampering or accidental damage. And although die cracks are not inherently valuable on their own, their presence on a coin already rich with multiple major errors strengthens the coin's identity as a singular mint anomaly that cannot be replicated or disputed. The bidding frenzy that ultimately pushed the coin's valuation to $175 million was driven not only by the combination of errors, but also by the historical significance that such a coin represents, because collectors view multi-error specimens as physical snapshots of chaotic mint moments, capturing rare disruptions in craftsmanship, technology, and machinery that reflect the unpredictable nature of mass production, and the emotional appeal of owning a coin that encapsulates so many impossible coincidences creates a psychological spark that fuels competitive bidding among elite collectors who see such a piece as a crown jewel for any collection. The cultural impact of this coin has also contributed to its skyrocketing fame, as its discovery has inspired countless people to re-examine their pocket change, search through jars of old coins, and pay closer attention to small details they once ignored. This cultural ripple effect elevates the coin from a mere piece of currency to a symbol of hope and possibility, reminding everyone that valuable discoveries are still out there and that fortune can strike unexpectedly at any time. The coin's value also reflects the way numismatic markets behave when a single object becomes legendary. Collectors begin to assign emotional and historical weight to it, investors view it as a once-in-a-lifetime asset, and museums express interest due to its educational and cultural significance. all of which combine to amplify demand and justify extreme valuations that surpass even the boldest predictions. Ultimately, this 1997 1-cent coin is more than just a piece of copper-plated zinc. It is a testament to the power of imperfection, the beauty of unpredictable minting moments, and the enduring thrill of discovery that keeps the world of numismatics alive and exciting. And as we conclude this journey into the extraordinary story of a penny transformed into a global treasure worth $175 million, let it remind every viewer that hidden gems may still be out there, waiting to be uncovered by those who look closely and never underestimate the value that might lie in the smallest, simplest objects we encounter every day.